charged with conspiracy with the intent to distribute 5 or more kilos or more in the furtherance of a drug trafficking crime, a 924C. A 924C is when you get caught with drugs, they give you a gun case, but any time that they give you for the drugs, they're gonna run that gun case separate from that. They're gonna run it consecutive no matter what. There's no way they're gonna run it together. You know what I'm saying? It's called a 924C. It's one of the worst cases you can get. And if you got a machine gun, like a Draco or a goddamn AK or something like that, you can get 30 for it. Luckily, I didn't have that. I just had a regular gun, so they hit me with fire running wild. But had I had a motherfucking chopper or something like that, they would have hit a nigga with 30 outside of the 27 that they gave me. So I would have had 57 years.
57 years?
Yes.
Just by having
Exactly, just by having an assault rifle. And I was trying to get an assault rifle, I just couldn't get one that day. Luckily, I couldn't get one that day because the drug case would have been over with, and once them 27 years was over with, I would have had to turn around and start on a whole 30-year sentence. That's a whole nother separate sentence, man.
How the Fed break that down? How we gonna give you two different sentences? Why they wouldn't have ran a concurrent?
Okay, when you've been in a state joint like me, in and out of prison, I've been a state joint 7 times. You know what I'm saying? But before the feds got me, this is shit going back to the 80s. I had been in and out, in and out. So when you get to the Fed use your prior record and they enhance you far as the career. I got hit with everything. I got hit with a 4B1, which is a career criminal. I got hit with the ACCA, which is an Armed Career Criminal Act, and I got hit with the 924C, all for that one gun. You know what I'm saying? And that one gun, I'm like, how they gonna keep penalizing me for the one gun? But that's, you know what I'm saying, that's what the feds do. So when y'all out there catching these little minor little cases, whether you're catching probation, whether you're catching county time or whatever you're doing, when you go to the Fed, man, listen, man, them folk gonna give it to you, man. All that gonna stack up on you. All that, they're gonna use that as in enhancements to give you more time. Meaning that my crime only carried 10 years. It carried 10 to life. So if I didn't have no record, I could have got 10 years. Based on the fact of my priors, I ended up with 27. So I got 17 more years based on my priors versus the instant offense.
Did you have a guideline sentence or a statutory sentence?
I had both. My statutory sentence was 10 to life. My guideline sentence was which say like had I caught a case and it didn't carry a minimum mandatory, I still would have ended up with 20 or 30 years, man. You know what I'm saying? You got guideline sentence and then you got minimum mandatories. The only thing that can break a minimum mandatory is 2 things. You telling or you ain't never been in trouble before. So wasn't neither one of them an option for me, so I already knew what I was facing.
So how you end up catching that case?
I end up catching that case, man. I was the first person almost, I want to say in Central Florida. I don't even want to say Tampa. I want to say the whole Central Florida from St. Pete to Orlando to Tampa to catch the type of case that I caught. These cases started out of Miami and they called stash house robberies. And stash house robberies is when the government, ATF agents and DEA agents, they target people. And they target people like me that done been in, you know what I'm saying, prison most of my life, or they target drug addicts or just niggas fresh out of prison that's down on their luck. You know what I'm saying? And they come to you with this sweet lick. They tell you, say, hey man, we know where a lick at with 20 keys and $250,000. That's what they told me. 20 keys and $250,000. Now mind you, I had been talking to this agent for a month straight about this lick. At that point, I hadn't committed no crime because I can't conspire with an agent or an informant. So at that time, I could just walk away at that time and they can't indict me for nothing. But he went one step further and went to saying, well, hey man, the dudes in the house is always armed. There's 3-4 dudes in there and this and that. So the first thing come in my mind, and this is the trick what they're using, is I need somebody. So I pulled my co-defendant in. And at that point, that's when they're saying that the conspiracy started.